Hi everyone, Josh with Talk About Trek here, and today we are back to talking about Trek books again. We just finished up today Star Trek TNG novel number 8, The Captain's Honor. And I liked it so much that I had to get right on today and make this video. So let's jump right in. This book is written by David and Daniel Dvorkin, who I found out are a father and son. And it's always nice to read the back cover. So let's start with that. Star Trek, The Next Generation, The Captain's Honor. A series of vicious attacks by the enigmatic Modoc Empire have devastated the planet Tanara, bringing the USS Enterprise and another Federation starship, the Centurion, to the planet's aid. The Centurion's captain is Lucius Sejanus, a powerful magnetic man who favors taking a far stronger stance against the Modoc than Captain Picard. As the conflict escalates, Sejanus' instinct seems to be correct, for it appears only extreme measures can stop the murderous raids on Tanara. Now the people of Tanara must decide which path they will follow: the way of peace or the road to war. But, unknown to any, one of the Centurion's officers has made that decision for them, and plans to provoke a full-scale war between the Federation and the Modoc Empire. Wow! Jumping right in, on the very first page they tell you, or not on the first page, but as you get into the book, they do tell you that you may wish to consult the original series episode Bread and Circuses for information on the Magna Roman Society. And so I did, and that was an episode that I had not seen in a long time, so I took a chance to go back and watch it again so I could kind of get a little bit of a backstory on where this captain was coming from. So, if you guys remember the episode Bread and Circuses from the original series, and I'm not going to get too in deep because honestly this episode could take like a whole nother video to talk about because it's really good and interesting in a lot of ways. But just to kind of shortly say what it is, on another planet, basically very similar to Earth, humans developed, and in their planet, in their world, the Roman Empire never fell. So it's basically an example of Earth, what would happen if the Roman Empire never fell. So 2,000 years later, where are they at? So that is what happens. So then Kirk, Spock, and Bones, of course, get trapped down on this planet. And as you can see, it features all sorts of amazing things, like these soldiers featuring machine guns. And it really is a fun episode. But basically what happens is, during the course of this episode, the Magna Romans are experiencing their own kind of overthrow as like the Christians kind of came up in the Roman society, 2,000 years ago. So that's what's happening to them now. So then what you do is you flash forward, about 70, 80 years to the TNG era. So now this society is actually accepted into Starfleet. And crazily enough, they actually have their own ship. So the USS Centurion is actually staffed entirely by these Magna Romans. So you have these two very different captains and these two very different crews coming together to help this planet out. So what is this planet that they're going to? So they have been called to aid the planet Tanara. So you kind of want to stop and talk about that too for a minute, because Tanara is a planet full of humans. And these humans were planted there, thousands of years ago by the preservers. You guys can look into that yourself if you want. And what happened was they were given a planet that was basically lush and full of life, and they were allowed just to spread out and live. And because of that, and because they did not have any conflict, they developed into an entirely peaceful society. So any kind of violence, anything, any thought of hurting someone else is basically abhorrent to them. And they would rather do anything other than hurt anyone. So it comes to happened that they are now under attack by this other race of people, and this race of people is called the Modoc or Modoc. I'm not sure exactly how I should be saying it, but they are like a cat-like species of people who the Federation encountered 200 years prior and actually had a war with and disarmed, and since then they have not really had too much contact with. But now they've kind of come and they started attacking this planet, and it turns out that they are actually attacking and eating these people. So the Federation has been called in to the defense of this planet to kind of see what they can do to solve the problem, figure out what's going on. So if you don't want to hear any more spoilers, that's probably about where we're going to stop it. What I will say is this is definitely an excellent and fun read, and as you get into it, the last few chapters, it really, really picks up. So, spoiler-free review, I like it, it's good, go read it. Okay, now we're going to talk spoilers galore for the rest of the video here on out. So, I'm not going to go into the story 100%, because we don't have the time for that in the video today. But we're going to go over my notes here and just kind of talk about like the high points. So first off, the notion of a planet developing exactly the same as Earth, but then having like slight differences, I think is really cool. It gives like a good, it's like a good thought experiment, and it makes for good books and it makes for good episodes of Star Trek. So whether you believe in the Palmieri hypothesis or Hodgkin's law of parallel planetary development, that's irrelevant. I just think it's interesting. And like I said, it makes for good stories, and that's what we all want. We want good stories. So in this story, they kind of tell the story through a new character, Ensign Jenny DeLuz, who comes from another planet, similar to Tanara. But in this planet, instead of things being lush, things are sparse. So the people there have grown up in the opposite way, and they have to fight for everything. So she is a warrior and she is a fighter, and consequently she is in the security department, so she has been assigned down to this planet to kind of coordinate the planet-side effort to protect it. And then, of course, up there in orbit, the Centurion and the Enterprise are setting up satellites and just trying to find ways to defend this planet. The problem they're running into, of course, is that these people are pacifists, and they just want no mention. They don't want no violence. They don't want to do anything. And there's actually a part in there where they just kind of say, "What, you mean we actually have to hurt these people to defend ourselves? Well, never mind. Just let them. They can just kill us." So, I mean, that's how much they are into it. So the story really kind of takes off. The story's actually kind of strange. It goes in a few different directions, but for me, it really took off at the end as the kind of master plan started to unveil itself. So the Magna Romans, of course, you had to kind of know, they were kind of setting themselves up throughout the entire book to be the villains. And turns out in the end, oh, look, they are the villains. So, this guy was just attempting to basically start a war for glory for himself. And, Picard wanted to come at this the right way, the Starfleet way. Do everything that you can before you have to resort to violence. So that was one of the main conflicts that was going on in the book there. And really made for a lot of excellent scenes with Picard just kind of like talking through, what he should do, as opposed to, Captain Sejanus's just basically attack, just blow him out of the sky and then no one else will be coming back. So really kind of the theme that I saw throughout the book was just this Federation ideals of, let's just look at every option we can possibly look at before we attack. Anything we can do before we attack. So there were some other kind of weird storylines that went on in this book. There was a few holodeck scenes that it almost seems as if the writer maybe just wanted to write some ancient battle scenes, because on the Magna Roma ship there, the Centurion, in the holodeck, they would enact their training sequences to be ancient Roman battles with no safeties on, and people would be getting killed all the time. So that was kind of strange, but I guess if you got a whole ship full of these people, I mean, who's going to report it to Starfleet? So that's how they got away with it. Now, the high points and the low points of this book. I'm going to say the high points for me were the kind of Picard thoughts and speeches about the ideals of Starfleet, and also Worf. Worf makes a short appearance in this book. It's not like a main thing, but he comes in kind of in the end of the book, and really does the writer does a really great job of writing Worf, because when I was reading that scene, I saw it play out in front of my head like I was watching an episode, and that was really great. So, if you're a Worf fan, you're going to be looking to the last chapter of this book for a really fun scene. What they missed out on, though, I'm going to tell you, that jumped right out at me, is there was a point in the book where the captain asked Data, how long ago did the Federation last contact these people? And Data answered, well, it was about 74 years. And I'm thinking, well, come on. This is Data, and he's supposed to be Season 2 Data. He's not going to answer, well, about 72 years. He's going to answer 74 years, 3 days, 2 hours, and 4 minutes, sir. But that's fine. Other than that, I was really digging it. It was a fun book, and I would definitely recommend it to any TNG fans out there. So, The Captain's Honor by David and Daniel Dvorkin. A few kind of fun notes on this book, and it's always fun to look these things up on Memory Alpha after you're done reading them. So, like I said, they were a father and son, and it looks as if that the editor actually did rewrite a significant portion of this book. And in reading it, you can almost kind of see maybe the original thought and maybe where the editor was taking it. So, I don't know, read it yourself, see what you think. The Captain's Honor. Anyway, today is the 27th, which means tomorrow is the 28th. And tomorrow is Star Trek Prodigy Day. So make sure that you watch Star Trek Prodigy tomorrow. 2 episodes. Oh, it's going to be excellent. So excellent. Wow, we went way too long here, guys. Thank you so much for listening to me rant about this fun book that I read. I hope that you enjoyed it. As always, Qapla', glory to the Empire, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.